Welcome to the 2017 Capability Challenge. This is the second annual Capability Challenge from the CMMI Institute. My name's Tom Cagley, and I'll be your facilitator through this process. I'm really excited to do this 2 years in a row. Last year, our inaugural session really was groundbreaking, and as we were reviewing and wrestling with how to do this year, we relived a number of different stories that were that made, at least at the time, things a little bit hectic. So why don't we go to the next slide and talk a little bit about the process last year. Last year we had 4 separate and distinct sessions, and in these sessions we had a competition of individuals who were presenting for their organization or organizations, and we had a voting structure that allowed us to narrow that down to 4 individuals who then presented at the CMMI Capability Counts Conference in Annapolis. Intelligo from Mexico, Honeywell, Aegis, and Noragon all had really incredibly great stories that were all about making change happen and invigorating the people within the CMMI and process improvement world. So it was a really wonderful sort of event that really started with your involvement. You know, side story, hopefully this year we don't have people running down the street from their location when the internet crashed to get to a Starbucks so they could actually present. That's the level of interest and passion that people had about this process. Our winner last year, on the next slide, was Michael Callahan of Aegis. You know, Michael told a really wonderful story, and as our first winner, we'd like to have him this morning give us an overview of what happened last year and his thoughts about how, you know, this, you know, participating in this has affected him and his organization. Michael?
Thank you, Tom, and good morning, everybody. I'm really happy to have the chance to comment briefly here on my experience last year. First of all, Aegis is a small IT consulting business based in the Washington, D.C. metro area. So we're certainly looking forward to seeing all of you at the conference coming up in our neck of the woods in the early part of 2017. We were first appraised maturity level 3 in 2009, and we're currently appraised level 3 in both development and services. In my presentation last year, I talked about Aegis's journey toward process improvement and capability maturity. In doing so, I framed that journey in terms of how any one of us might pursue a health kick. That is, recognizing a need to shape up, putting a plan in place, and beginning to execute that plan. I talked about how, similar to at least my own experience with health kicks, some of the benefits of that improvement are not obvious until the improvement has started to occur. Sometimes it's only then that we recognize and appreciate some of the value, and that in turn drives us to want even greater improvement, ways to track it, and ultimately ways to tie it to value. Our story included references to our high degree of executive level, hands-on buy-in, and the fantastic capabilities of all the great folks at Aegis. Happily, this was a story that resonated with the voters, both in the preliminary webinar rounds of the competition and at the finals at the Capability Counts Conference in Annapolis this year. Now, winning the award has had a number of benefits for Aegis. As a small company, this level of recognition within the global community of process improvement has been humbling. Inside our organization, winning the award has validated the value of process improvement in our approach to it, raising the morale and the internal support for CMMI even higher. Externally, we've leveraged the award in marketing efforts and proposal submissions, We were even featured in an ESPN-style short documentary film commissioned by the CMMI Institute. And you can read more about our experience as the award winner on the Aegis Insights blog linked from our website, www.aegis, that's AEGIS.net. If you're looking for my advice for this year's competition, it is this. How you tell your story is as important as the story itself. So take time to develop your presentation in a way that is compelling and even entertaining, and present it as dynamically as you can. That's not to suggest style overshadows substance, although some observers of a recent election here in the United States might want to debate that. But we're all human. We all like a good story. So thank you once again to Tom and the CMMI Institute for the chance to speak today, and best of luck to the 2017 Capability Challenge competitors.
Michael, before we move on, just because you sort of underlined the whole approach of having a plot, having a story, what was the unifying theme that you used in your presentation last year?
It was really around finding a way that ties our journey as a company in terms of its pursuit towards process improvement to something that resonates with everyone and they can all relate to. I think it was a theme that, particularly when we first did our webinar presentation, it was January last year, right after New Year's. New Year's resolutions were at the top of mind for a lot of people, so they understood that theme and how they tied together. And I think in the way that I like to present things, in a way that I think does resonate with people, whenever you can transcend one particular discipline and put it in terms of another one, I think that works really well. And again, it's a story that we all like to hear. We hear enough of the sort of dry software engineering type things when we're at our job every day and going through the slides. So in this context, I think finding a way that makes it more dynamic is a good thing, and that's what I would encourage folks to do.
Well, it really was something that I think resonated, not only with the individuals that voted in there in the first place, but the entire audience. I must say, though, that all of the organizations and people that presented over the life of the entirety of the first annual Capability Challenge really were winners, and they made all of us better, and they taught all of us something. Today, we're going to sort of start the transition into the second one. Michael West is leading the charge this year in terms of organizing and putting together the process. So, Michael, why don't you explain what's different this year and take us through how this is going to actually happen?
Great. Thank you, Tom. Hello, everyone. My name is Michael West, and I am the conference chair for the 2017 Capability Counts Conference and organizing this year's Capability Challenge as well. In 2016, the way the Capability Challenge worked is the winner of each round of competition and then the final winner at the conference in Annapolis were selected based on the popular vote of the audience. We're changing things up just a little bit in 2017. In the Capability Challenge 2017, the winner of each round of competition and the final winner will be selected by a combination of both popular audience vote and the vote of three very experienced to very professional judges who will be using defined criteria to make their judgments. So let's see how this works. Next slide, please, Courtney. So as I said on the previous slide, the popular audience vote, it will count as one vote, and then each of the three judges on the judging panel will have one vote. In Capability Challenge 2017, there will be 4 votes possible. The most popular audience vote, 1 vote, and then each of the 3 judges vote. The winner of each round and the final winner will be chosen by the majority of those 4 votes. So we have Currently we have planned 12 challenge competitors. That will be 4 webinars. From each webinar there will be a winner, and then the 4 winners of that will go to the conference for the Capability Challenge Finals. In the case of a tie, for example, if there are 2 votes for one competitor and 2 votes for another competitor, the competitor that received the popular audience vote wins. Next slide, please, Courtney. So let me introduce the judges to you. The first judge is Maggie Glover. Maggie's had a very long and diverse career as a CMMI instructor, lead appraiser, and consultant. In her global work, she's developed very keen insights into the human qualities and the human stories that drive successful change and improvement. In the challenge, Maggie's going to be looking for the compelling human story that led to the success and how that story continues to serve as the narrative for sustained improvement. She knows the importance of grace, charm, and humor. So to competitors, I say, and this emphasizes what Michael Callahan said is, you know, get your story on, get your interpersonal skills game on. Next slide, please. Bill Smith, I think very few of you attending this webinar today need introduction to Bill Smith. He's renowned for his Make CMMI Fun Again campaign, which has built his illustrious career as an instructor. He has captivated audiences and students with his powerful, effective, and entertaining public speaking style. In the challenge, Bill is going to leverage his extensive knowledge of presentation skills to judge competitors on the effectiveness of their storytelling capability. The challengers, polish those communication skills and tell a story that captures our imaginations. Next slide, please, Courtney. I'm Michael West. I'm the guy that my clients and my colleagues always like to say, oh, God, here comes Show Me the Money, Michael West. I've authored 2 books on achieving greater capability and return on process through CMMI adoption. I'm going to focus on the challengers and look for the demonstrated causal relationships between their CMMI adoption and measurably increased capability and performance. When I ask challenge competitors about numbers, I'm not asking about maturity levels. I'm asking about productivity, efficiency, efficacy, quality, revenue, margin, and market share, and customer satisfaction. Next slide, please. As I mentioned earlier, the panel of judges will be using defined criteria in the following categories: originality and innovativeness, credibility, value to conference attendees. In other words, what will the conference attendees be able to take away with them and possibly apply in their own organizations? The presenter's qualities and delivery, measured success from CMMI adoption. The judges have been provided detailed definitions for these judging criteria. Now, none of the 3 capability judges have a relationship with any of the 2017 challenge competitors. If we discover that in fact there is a conflict of interest, then the judge with the conflict of interest will recuse himself or herself from the round of competition in which the relationship is a competitive. Next slide. So that is the That's the last of the content for this presentation. And I just want to remind everybody that the super early bird registration rate of $1,299 ends 31 December 2016. So if you want to get that rate, then you need to get out there and register for the conference. I also want to mention that this year we have a day, the Monday before the conference. There will be 6 half-day tutorials. These are super high-value learning opportunities for a minimally incremental cost in your registration. So please go out to the Institute's website, check out those learning opportunities in the half-day tutorials, and hopefully we'll see you there for 1 or 2 of those also. Now, at this point, next slide, Courtney. At this point, I think we'll take questions from the audience. Please submit via the chat box. All right, so we'll talk about the finals a little bit. We do know who the 12 participants are in the challenge. Right now, the CMMI Institute is communicating with them and lining up their commitments to attend one of the 4 challenge webinars, and then also get their commitment that if they are selected to go to the finals, that they are committed to attending the conference and the challenge finals.
Michael, so we know who's going to participate. That's sort of the process going on, trying to get them there. The criteria, we've got a question that's come in about whether or not you can share the criteria with the audience and with the individual that are participating.
Yes, Tom, thank you for that question. We will provide in the introductions to each of the webinars, each of the challenge webinars, we'll provide the full detailed description for each of those judging criteria that the panel of 3 judges are going to use.
Okay. Are there other questions? Looking through the interface. Michael, while we're waiting for other questions to come in, this is your first year sort of leading this and leading the conference. What really excites you about not only the challenge, but the conference in its own right?
I am so excited about the conference. Last year we had 3 tracks for content, and they were really based on the conference attendees' experience level in CMMI adoption. So we had a starting your journey track. We had a CMMI on board track for people with some intermediate level of adoption experience. And then we had the advancing your capability track for those people who have been in process improvement for quite a while. This year, in 2017 rather, we have 6 tracks. We kept the CMMI on board track, we kept the advancing your capability track, but we also have 4 additional tracks, and these are really oriented towards CMMI adoption in different environments. So for example, we have a total solutions track where people are combining their CMMI adoption with Lean Six Sigma, with Agile, with the PMBOK, with other standards and bodies of knowledge, and that's real exciting. We have a industry sector track where the presenters are going to talk about their CMMI adoption and their capability successes in specific industries like healthcare, like aerospace, or telecommunications. So and we got a lot of presentations for that. We also have a discipline-focused track. Now, the discipline-focused track is aimed toward audience attendees who, or conference attendees who want to know how to adopt the CMMI successfully and increase their capability from the perspective of their functional roles. So if I'm a configuration manager, or I'm a project manager, or I'm a software developer, and I want to know exactly what I need to know about the CMMI adoption from that perspective, then that would be the track I would sign up for. So we've got a lot of offerings, Tom, that in 2017 that we didn't have in 2016, and I'm just super excited about it. I'm hoping that we'll have a huge conference attendance, and it will be the preeminent learning opportunity for people in process and performance improvement.
Excellent. Michael, another question has come in, and they're asking whether or not there's a track that for people who are level 3 transitioning upwards to 4 and 5 and building that high capability within the organization. Is there a specific track, or how do you see that happening?
Yes, absolutely. People who are interested in pursuing the higher maturities, they will want to look at the program that is in the Advancing Your Capability track. And that's where you'll see presentations that offer, how to quantitatively manage and improve your processes, which is something that you need to do in maturity levels 4 and 5.
Super. And we have actually one more that now has come in. Will there be any track to talk about tools or technologies to adapt and practice CMMI processes easily, sort of like a GPS that helps us direct a car while we drive?
Tom, we do have presentations, and they're mixed among in the 6 different tracks that do talk about organization successes with particular enterprise-wide tool. We tend to not put too much of a focus on tool sets, because really what we want people to be able to do is to improve their process performance and their capability from an almost tool agnostic perspective. We also don't, the Institute and the conference staff, we really don't want to be in the business of being seen to promote or seemingly advertise one particular tool over another.
No, that makes a ton of sense. And another question is, and this actually goes back to the challenge, is everyone allowed to take part in the popular vote, or are there special criteria for eligibility to vote?
Well, all you have to do is attend the webinar, and then after the webinar, you will have 1 hour following the webinar to submit your vote, your individual vote, for who you think is should be the winner of that round of competition.
Yeah, I remember last year, that was flashed in sort of the browser section of the webinar tool and also emailed to people, but it really is 1 hour and it cuts off. So if you go out and take a 2-hour lunch, you won't vote in this scenario. So I don't see any other questions. Oh, one more. Before we wrap up, and actually this is not a question that just came in, Michael, can you remind us when the early bird, the really, really early bird discount actually expires? Is that soon?
Super early bird registration ends December 31st. So you've got just about, looks like 17 more days to get to register on the Super Early Bird. Tom, I do want to take the chance, since we have a few minutes here. I accidentally forgot the 6th track in 2017. This is one that we got a lot of requests for following last year's conference, and that is there's an appraisal track. So there's a track completely devoted to presentations about how to prepare for Scampy appraisals, how to successfully navigate through an appraisal, how to stay calm and not get stressed out during an appraisal. So I think the people who wanted more appraisal stories in 2016, they're going to get it in 2017.
Well, that's really great. I wanted to sort of wrap this up with a reminder to everyone. Our next, the first real challenge in the challenge occurs on January 11th at 10 a.m. I hope that you register. Each webinar that we do, including this one, will be recorded. This one will be available to be reviewed next week, but after each one you'll be able to go back and actually refer to these to actually gain knowledge. Obviously you won't get to vote after, on the replay, but, join us on January 11th, and then in February, March, and April. So we're going to have 4 sessions, 4 wonderful competitions where people share their stories and their knowledge, and we get to sit there and absorb it and decide which one we think it should go on. And with the folks that are acting as the electors, we'll push that forward. So again, January 11th, 2017, 10 a.m. I hope to see everyone there, and we look forward to our first competition as part of the 2017 Capability Counts Capability Challenge.